Lick the soup clean and I'll give you 5,000.
You really are cheap to the bone.
Do it, Eleanor, or pay for the car.
You threw away your dignity for 5,000.
Thank you for the tip, boss.
In the 3rd year after our divorce, I crashed into my ex-husband Alexander Sterling's Maybach while delivering food. He was on his way to a signing ceremony for a multi-billion-dollar project. And sitting in the passenger seat was my former best friend, Chloe Smith, and me. I was wearing a rain-soaked delivery uniform, looking like a drowned rat. I kept my head down and tried to slip away, but Chloe stopped me, licked the soup off the ground clean. And you won't have to pay the car repairs, and I'll give you 5,000 on top of it, she said to me, pointing at the spilled soup on the ground. I didn't hesitate. I got down on my hands and knees on the muddy asphalt, licking up the soup spilled on the ground and the car, mouthful by mouthful. All around me were the sounds of honking horns and the camera clicks of passers-by's phones. After licking up the last drop, I wiped my mouth. Eleanor Vance, throwing away your dignity for 5,000. You really are cheap to the bone, Alexander said with disgust. I gave a numb smile and held out my grime-covered hand toward him. Thank you for the tip, boss. This 5,000 is just enough to buy fever medicine for my daughter. After all, if I didn't buy the medicine soon, our daughter, the one he abandoned at the orphanage, was going to suffer brain damage from the fever. The rain was pouring down heavily. I was soaked to the bone, standing before the Maybach I had just dented. And on the ground lay the soup, spilled completely. The soup mixed with the rainwater, meandering across the asphalt. 5,000. That was the price Chloe offered. As long as I licked the spilled soup clean off the ground, I wouldn't have to pay for the car repairs, and she would even give me 5,000 on top of it. I looked up, rainwater dripping from my eyelashes. The passenger window of the Maybach was rolled halfway down, and Chloe's exquisite face wore a mocking smile. I in the driver's seat. Alexander stared coldly ahead, not even sparing me a glance from the corner of his eye. What? Think it's dirty. Chloe waved the cash in her hand. Eleanor, this is 5,000. You couldn't make this much delivering takeout all day, could you? She was right. I couldn't. I ran my legs off every day, praying I wouldn't get any customer complaints. Without hesitation, I dropped to my hands and knees. The smell of New England clam chowder mixed with the metallic stench of mud rushed straight to my head. Honking horns surrounded me, along with the shutter clicks of bystanders holding up their phones to take pictures. Look, is this woman crazy? Doing that for 5,000? How disgusting. Film it and post it online. It'll definitely go viral. The whispers pierced my ears like needles. I heard them, but I didn't care. I only cared about that 5,000.1 mouthful. 2 mouthfuls. My stomach churned violently. I fought back the urge to vomit and swallowed mechanically, until nothing was left on the ground but a shallow water stain. I wiped my mouth and pushed against the ground, trying to stand up. My knees had long gone numb, and I stumbled, almost falling over again. Smack. A stack of bills was thrown hard against my face. The cash wasn't heavy, but it stung my cheek sharply. Then it scattered into the muddy water. Take it and get lost. Alexander's voice finally rang out, laced with undisguised disgust. Eleanor, throwing away your dignity for 5,000. You really are cheap to the bone. I bent down and picked up the bills one by one. I smiled numbly and held out my mud-caked hand toward him. Thanks for the tip, boss. This 5,000 is just enough to buy fever medicine for my daughter. Immediately, an even colder sneer followed. Daughter? Eleanor, that little bastard of yours isn't dead yet. It felt as if someone had viciously squeezed my heart. It hurt so much I could barely breathe, but I just nodded numbly. She's tough. Takes after me. The Maybach's engine roared, splashing me with muddy water as it sped away. I stood in the rain, clutching that 5,000 tightly. Not dead yet. Yes, not dead yet. After all, if I didn't buy the medicine soon, our daughter, who was abandoned at the orphanage, would suffer brain damage from the fever. I rode my beat-up electric bike, rushing like a madwoman toward the orphanage in the west of the city. Divorced for 3 years, I had left the marriage with nothing. Alexander had used all his Connections to blackball me. I could only do hard manual labor to earn a meager living. 3 years ago, Alexander was convinced I had cheated. Convinced that Lily wasn't his child. He personally dumped the newborn Lily at this remote private orphanage and destroyed her birth certificate. I wanted to take Lily away, but the director said Alexander had given orders. This child could only die here, and no one was allowed to take her away. So I could only visit her in secret, stuffing all the money I earned into the caretaker's hands, begging them to give Lily a hot meal. The sudden ring of my phone shattered my memories. Martha Higgins, the woman looking after Lily, spoke with an impatient tone. "Eleanor, do you have the money or not? Your daughter is already convulsing from the fever." "Martha, I earned $5,000. I'll bring it over to you right now." "Please just help her first," I said in a panic. "Only $500? Are you trying to brush off a beggar? Registration fees, examination fees, 4 drips. What is your $5,000 even going to cover?" Martha's shrill voice cut me off through the phone. "If you don't have the money, don't bother treating her. She's just an unwanted bastard anyway. Good riddance if she dies." "Mommy, I feel so sick." I could faintly hear Lily's voice through the receiver. "Eleanor, I'm only giving you 3 hours to scrape together $10,000 and bring it here. Otherwise, if your daughter dies in the lobby, it's none of my business." Then came the busy tone of the call being hung up. I was still short $5,000. There were only a few contacts left in my phone. My former friends had long since cut ties with me because of Alexander's blacklist. My parents, ever since I insisted on marrying Alexander, they acted as if they no longer had a daughter. With trembling fingers, I dialed the number I knew by heart, even though I knew I was likely just bringing humiliation upon myself. The phone rang twice before it connected. "Hello." A deep, magnetic voice came through the line. Soft piano music played in the background, accompanied by the clinking of wine glasses. "Alexander," I began, my voice impossibly hoarse. "Lend me $5,000, please." Then came Chloe's sweet, delicate voice. "Alexander, who is it?" "A beggar," Alexander replied flatly. "Eleanor, have you forgotten that we're already divorced?" He continued. "I know, but Lily is sick. She needs money for a doctor." I begged through my tears. "That's your bastard child. What does she have to do with me?" Alexander's voice was cold as ice. "You want money? Fine. I'm at Nightfall right now. Come over. Make me happy, and I'll give you 50,000, let alone 5. Nightfall was the most exclusive club in the city. It was also the place Alexander used to love bringing me to. Back then, I was the Mrs. Sterling everyone envied. Now, I was a joke covered in mud. Wearing a delivery uniform. I stood at the magnificent entrance, where the security guard stopped me with a look of disgust. Delivery drivers used the back door. "I'm looking for Alexander." The guard froze for a moment before the manager's voice came through his walkie-talkie. "Let her in. Mr. Sterling is in VIP room 888. I kept my head down, walking through the dazzling, neon-lit corridor. The men and women in haute couture stared at me like I was a monster. And I did look like a monster. I was soaked to the bone, my hair plastered to my scalp, with a large, bleeding lump on my forehead. I pushed open the door to room 888, and a wave of heat mixed with the stench of alcohol hit my face. Under the massive crystal chandelier, Alexander sat right in the middle of the leather sofa. He swirled a glass of red wine in his hand, his shirt collar slightly unbuttoned, exuding a lazy yet aristocratic air. Chloe nestled in his arms, feeding him grapes. The room was full of people, all old acquaintances. Seeing me enter, the room instantly fell silent. A second later, it erupted into roaring laughter. "Oh, isn't this our Mrs. Sterling? How did she end up looking like this? I heard she delivers food now. She was just licking the street earlier. Absolutely pathetic." Chloe covered her mouth, giggling uncontrollably. "Oh my, Eleanor, why didn't you change your clothes before coming? This is Nightfall. Dressed like that, people who don't know any better would think you're here to unclog the drains." I ignored their mockery. I walked straight up to Alexander and held out my hand. 5,000. Alexander lifted his eyelids, sweeping a flat glance over me. "I told you, make me happy." He pointed to a row of imported liquor on the table. "Finish them. 1,000 per bottle." There were 5 bottles of Louis XIII on the table. With this kind of hard liquor, just 1 bottle is enough to cause stomach bleeding. 0.5 bottles, that would kill me. But I had no way out. Lily was still at the clinic, waiting for the life-saving money. Do you keep your word? I stared right into his eyes. A cruel smirk curled on Alexander's lips. When have I ever lied to you? I grabbed the first bottle, tilted my head back, and started chugging. The fiery liquid burned down my throat and into my stomach, slicing through me like blades. I had a severe stomach condition, developed from starving myself while delivering food these past 3 years. By the time I finished the first bottle, my stomach was already cramping, but I didn't stop. The second bottle, the third bottle. The people around me started to jeer, clapping and cheering. Awesome. Still the drinking god after all these years. Keep drinking. Don't stop. Halfway through the 4th bottle, I finally couldn't hold it in anymore. With a violent gag, I threw up. It was nothing but liquor mixed with streaks of blood. I tried to head for the restroom, but Chloe grabbed me hard. Hey, don't leave. You haven't finished yet. She splashed the remaining half bottle of liquor right into my face. Eleanor, who are you trying to gross out? Puking all over the floor like that. The alcohol seeped into my eyes, stinging fiercely. I wiped my face haphazardly, kneeling on the floor as I reached for the last bottle. I'll drink. I'll finish it. My hands were shaking so badly I couldn't even hold the bottle steady. Alexander suddenly kicked the coffee table over. Bottles shattered all over the floor. Shards of glass flew through the air, slicing the back of my hand. Enough. He roared in a fit of rage. The private room instantly fell dead silent. He stood up and looked down at me, emotions I couldn't understand surging in his eyes. Eleanor, are you really throwing your life away for that little bastard? I lay sprawled over the broken glass, breaking out in a cold sweat from the pain, but I still smiled, reaching my blood-stained hand out to him. Alexander, 4 bottles, 4,000. Give me the money. Alexander stared at my blood-covered hands, his chest heaving violently. He seemed to want to say something, but it ultimately twisted into a chilling sneer. You want money? Fine. He pulled a card from his wallet and threw it on the ground. There's $1 million in here. $1 million. My eyes instantly lit up. With $1 million, I could take Lily away from the orphanage, get her the best medical treatment, and fly far away with her. I lunged forward like a madwoman, desperate to pick up that card. A black leather shoe stomped heavily onto my hand. An agonizing pain shot through my fingers, feeling as though the bones were about to snap. I let out a miserable shriek and looked up at Alexander. He applied more pressure, ruthlessly grinding his soul into the back of my hand. You want this $1 million? He bent down, leaning close to my ear, his voice like the whisper of a demon. Let's play a game. Jump down from here. As long as you don't die, this $1 million is yours. I froze. This was the 2nd floor. Though not very high, directly below was solid concrete and various landscaping rocks. Jumping down meant either death or being crippled. What? Don't have the guts? Alexander lifted his foot and kicked the card away. If you don't have the guts, get lost. Alexander, don't scare her. Chloe walked over with a smile and linked arms with Alexander. Eleanor is terrified of pain. In the past, she'd cry for ages just from a scraped finger. It was true. I used to be terrified of pain, but that was the past. Now, as long as I could save Lily, let alone jumping off a building, I'd even dare to walk through hellfire. I scrambled up, snatched the card from the ground, and clutched it tightly in my hand. Do you keep your word? Alexander narrowed his eyes, seemingly not expecting me to agree. Of course. I turned and dashed toward the balcony. The wind was howling, and the rain was still pouring. I climbed onto the railing and glanced back at Alexander. He stood under the light, expressionless, yet his eyes were terrifyingly sinister. Eleanor, don't you dare jump. He suddenly roared, lifting his foot to rush over. It was too late. I closed my eyes and leaped. A sense of weightlessness enveloped my entire body, followed immediately by a loud, sickening thud. Agonizing pain struck. I felt as though my leg bones were shattered and all my internal organs had shifted. The rain washed over the bloodstains on my body. I lay in the muddy water, Looking up at that blurry silhouette on the second floor balcony, I held up the card in my hand and broke into a wide grin. I won. However, right at that moment, my phone rang. It was a call from the orphanage director. Eleanor, your daughter is missing. What? A deafening roar exploded in my mind. The people at the clinic just said someone forcibly took your daughter away. They said it was the child's biological father. I snapped my head up to look at the second floor. Alexander was already gone. Immediately after, a black Maybach sped out from the underground garage. The car window rolled down, revealing Alexander's cold, ruthless face. He was holding a photo in his hand. It was an ultrasound scan. The ultrasound scan from 3 years ago, when I was pregnant with Lily. He tore the photo to pieces and scattered them into the rain. Eleanor, did you think you won? That little bastard. I'm going to make her life a living hell. The car sped away into the rain. I let out an agonizing scream, dragging my broken leg as I crawled through the rain. Alexander, give Lily back to me. She's your biological daughter. My leg was completely broken, but I couldn't care less. Dragging that numb, lifeless leg, I crawled to the side of the road and hailed a taxi, seeing me covered in blood. The driver was too terrified to take me. I slammed the card with 1 million on it in front of him. The password is 6 zeros. Take me to the Sterling Villa. The driver was half doubtful, but for the sake of the money, he let me in. Along the way, I called Alexander countless times. No one answered. I called Chloe. It went through. Eleanor, you really are hard to kill. You didn't even die jumping from the second floor. Chloe's voice carried undisguised malice. Where is Lily? Where did you take Lily? Lily? Oh, you mean that little bastard. Chloe gave a light chuckle. Alexander said, since she's the spawn of you and some random man, she should be sent where she belongs. Where? The Rottweiler cages. Even through the phone, I could feel the bone-chilling coldness. Those Rottweilers in the Sterling's backyard have been starving for 2 days. Chloe, you'll rot in hell. I screamed hoarsely, my throat filled with the metallic taste of blood. Beep, beep, beep. The call was disconnected. The car finally arrived at the Sterling Villa. The main gates were shut tight. I pounded frantically on the iron gates. Alexander, open the door, open the damn door. No one paid me any attention. I heard the barking of Rottweilers coming from the backyard. That ferocious, tearing sound, and the faint crying of a child. Mommy, help. That was Lily's voice. I went mad. I threw myself against the iron gates desperately. Once. Twice. My shoulder was dislocated, and my head was busted open. Finally, the small side door next to the main gates opened. The butler walked out with a cold expression. Mr. Sterling said to let you in for one last look. I rushed inside. The backyard. The rain was still falling. Several massive Rottweiler cages sat there. Several half-human tall Rottweilers were frantically ramming against the cages, and in the middle of the cages lay a tiny figure. Lily was curled into a ball, covered in mud, her little face deathly pale, shivering violently. She tightly clutched a worn-out rag doll in her arms. It was her only toy. Alexander stood on the second-floor balcony, a cigarette pinched between his fingers. Chloe stood beside him, smiling with utter smugness. Alexander, let her go. She is your daughter. I knelt in the muddy water, sobbing hysterically, my daughter. Alexander flicked his cigarette ash and sneered. Eleanor, you still want to lie to me even now? 3 years ago, the paternity test showed that she has no blood relation to me. That was fake. Chloe tampered with it. I pointed at Chloe and screamed. Ask her. Ask her if she bribed the doctor back then. Alexander turned his head to look at Chloe. Chloe's face paled, and then her eyes reddened with grievance. Alexander, how can you believe this crazy woman's words? I am entirely devoted to you. How could I possibly do such a thing? Besides, she admitted to cheating herself back then. Yes, I did admit it back then. Because Chloe kidnapped my parents. If I didn't confess, my parents would die. I closed my eyes in despair. What was the point of explaining now? He didn't believe me. He never did. Release the Rottweilers. Alexander's icy voice rang out. The butler walked over and unlocked the cage. Roar. The Rottweilers dashed out, lunging straight at Lily. No. An unprecedented surge of strength erupted within me as I sprang from the ground and rushed toward Lily. Just in that split second, before the Rottweiler's fangs could snap Lily's neck, I threw myself over Lily. Rip. The sound of sharp teeth piercing flesh, agonizing pain flared from my back. I shielded Lily with my life, pressing her firmly beneath me. Mommy. Lily cried out for me. Don't be afraid, Mommy is here. I felt my blood draining away rapidly. My consciousness began to fade in my daze. I heard Alexander's panicked roar. Pull the Rottweilers off. Hurry and pull the Rottweilers off. I had a very long dream. In the dream, I went back to the day I married Alexander. He got down on one knee, swearing to love me and trust me for the rest of his life. The scene shifted, and it was him throwing the divorce papers in my face, telling me to get lost. And then it was Lily crying and calling for Mom in the orphanage. I jolted awake. A blinding white filled my vision. A hospital. You're awake. A cold voice came from beside me. Alexander sat by the hospital bed, his face terrifyingly dark. I moved a little, and a tearing agony shot through my back. Where is Lily? I opened my mouth, my voice as raspy as sandpaper. Dead. Alexander spat out the word. My mind buzzed. My vision went black, and I nearly fainted again. What did you say? Mauled to death by the Rottweilers. He stared at me, his eyes devoid of any warmth. Eleanor, this is the price of your infidelity. I let out a blood-curdling scream, ripped the 4-tube from my hand, and lunged at Alexander. I'm going to kill you. Alexander. I'll kill you. I clamped my teeth down on his wrist. I bit down with all my might until the taste of blood filled my mouth. Alexander didn't dodge, just letting me bite him. Until I lost all my strength, released my grip, and collapsed onto the bed, sobbing uncontrollably. I lied. He suddenly spoke. I froze, looking at him with a tear-streaked face. She's in the ICU. Alexander pulled his hand back, looking at the bone-deep bite marks on his wrist without even a frown. She's not dead, but she might as well be. She already had pneumonia, suffered a severe shock, and on top of that, malnutrition. The doctor said if she doesn't have surgery immediately, she won't survive 3 days. The surgery costs $500,000. I felt like I had grasped a lifeline. I have money. I have that card. There's $1 million in it. I patted myself frantically, searching for the card. That card is empty. Alexander interrupted me cruelly. It's a useless piece of plastic. I stiffened. Useless? I risked my life jumping off a building, all for a useless card. Alexander, are you playing me? I looked at him in disbelief. Yes, I am playing you. Alexander stood up and adjusted his cuffs. Watching you being toyed with like a dog is quite amusing to me. However, it's not impossible for me to save that little bastard. He leaned down and looked into my eyes. As long as you agree to one condition. What condition? Donate your corneas to Chloe. A shudder ran through my entire body. Chloe's eyes have been having issues lately. The doctor says she needs a cornea transplant. Alexander said nonchalantly, your eyes are beautiful, a perfect match for her. Impossible. I refused without a second thought. Why should I? Why should I give my eyes to her? Because I am the only one who can save that little bastard. Alexander looked at me coldly. Eleanor, you have no choice. Either you give your eyes to Chloe, and I pay to save that bastard, or you watch helplessly as that bastard dies in the ICU. This was like tossing my heart into a pan of boiling oil. On one side was Lily's life, and on the other, my eyes. Even my dignity and my hatred. That bitch Chloe not only stole my husband and harmed my daughter, but now she even wants my eyes. I'll give you 3 minutes to think about it. Alexander checked his watch. In 3 minutes, if I don't have an answer, I'll have someone pull that little bastard's oxygen tube. 1, 2. Time ticked by, second by agonizing second. Every second felt like death by 1,000 cuts. I thought of Lily's pale little face. I thought of her huddled in that Rottweiler cage, trembling uncontrollably. I remembered her crying out, "Mommy, help." I was a useless mother. I couldn't give her a good life, nor could I even protect her. Now, the only things I could give her were my life and these eyes. All right. I closed my eyes, tears slipping down my cheeks. I agree. As long as you save Lily. Never mind my eyes, I'll give you my heart too. The surgery was scheduled for the next day. That night, I was allowed to visit the ICU to see Lily one last time. Through the thick glass, I looked at that tiny figure covered in tubes. The heartache was so suffocating I couldn't breathe. Lily, I'm sorry. I pressed my hand against the glass, tracing her silhouette. Mommy won't be able to watch you grow up anymore. But you have to live well, live on for Mommy's sake too. Early the next morning, I was wheeled into the operating room. Chloe was lying on the other operating table. She looked at me, a smug smile plastered across her face. Eleanor, thank you for your eyes. From now on, I'll keep a good eye on Alexander for you. I ignored her. I just stared at the ceiling of the operating room. The surgical light was so bright, blindingly bright. This would be the last time I ever saw the light. The anesthesia was pushed into my body. My consciousness gradually blurred. In my final glance, I saw Alexander standing outside the glass window of the observation room. He was looking at me expressionlessly. When I woke up again, the world was pitch black. Thick bandages were wrapped around my eyes. A severe pain hit me. I subconsciously reached out to touch them, but a nurse stopped me. Don't move, you just had surgery. Where is Lily? Did Lily have her surgery? I asked anxiously. Rest assured, the child's surgery was very successful. Alexander hired the best specialists. The nurse's voice held a hint of sympathy. Just focus on your recovery. Hearing that Lily was fine, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Even if I could never see again from now on, it was worth it. I stayed in the hospital for half a month. During this half month, Alexander didn't visit even once. Chloe, however, came once. Her bandages had been removed, and she was said to be recovering very well. She stood by my bed, looking at me with the eyes that originally belonged to me. Eleanor, do you know? Alexander said my eyes are even more charming than before. He also said that seeing you looking like a blind freak disgusts him. I listened expressionlessly. My heart had died long ago. It wouldn't hurt anymore. Oh right, let me tell you some good news. Chloe leaned close to my ear and lowered her voice. Even though Lily's surgery was successful, she has gone missing. What did you say? I sat up abruptly, my hands grasping wildly in the air. Explain yourself. What do you mean she's gone missing? It means she disappeared. Chloe laughed so hard she was trembling. Maybe she was abducted by human traffickers? After all, she's the daughter of a blind woman with no one watching her. Chloe, it was you. You must have done this. I lunged off the bed, following the direction of her voice to grab her. But I grabbed nothing but air and fell heavily to the floor. Oh my, how pitiful. Chloe's high heels stepped hard on my hand. Eleanor, don't even think about seeing that little bastard ever again in this lifetime. Just take your regrets and rot away in the dark. She left, leaving me all alone to break down and cry in the darkness. My eyes were gone. Lily was gone too. What was the point of me staying alive? I groped around to climb up, stumbling as I walked out. I had to find Alexander. I needed to ask him why he was treating me like this. I felt my way out of the ward and out of the hospital. Outside, the streets were bustling with traffic. Countless car horns exploded in my ears. I had no sense of direction, relying only on instinct to keep walking. Suddenly, a car screeched to a halt right in front of me. Do you have a death wish? Where you're going, you blind fool. The driver cursed at the top of his lungs. I grabbed the car door. Take me to the Sterling Group. Please. Perhaps my gauze-wrapped face was too terrifying. The driver didn't dare kick me out and drove me to the Sterling building. I felt my way into the lobby. The receptionist stopped me. I need to see Alexander. You can't go in without an appointment. I am Eleanor. I'm his ex-wife. I screamed and shouted. Security guards came over to drag me away. Just then, the sound of familiar footsteps echoed. Let her through. It was Alexander. I shook off the guards, lunged toward the voice, and clung to his legs. Alexander. Where is Lily? What did you do with Lily? Chloe said Lily is missing. Is it true? Alexander remained silent for a long time. So long that I thought he wouldn't even answer. Yes. He finally spoke. The hospital staff was negligent, and the child wandered off. I let out a miserable laugh. Where could a child who just had surgery possibly wander off to? Alexander, if you didn't want her, you could have just given her back to me. Why make her disappear? Why did you deceive me out of my eyes? Because you're stupid. Alexander shoved me away. I crashed onto the cold marble floor. Eleanor, this is what you get for betraying me. Get lost, and don't ever let me see you again. I didn't leave. I sat at the entrance of the Sterling building for a whole day and night. I neither ate nor drank, sitting there like a statue. Passers-by pointed and whispered at me. I couldn't hear them, nor could I see them. All I knew was that my Lily was gone. My world had completely collapsed until the next evening when it started to rain. The freezing rain drenched me, my wounds became inflamed, and I developed a fever. I end my days. I felt someone drape a coat over my shoulders. Ms. Vance, let's go. It was the voice of an unfamiliar man. I am Mr. Sterling's assistant. He asked me to take you somewhere. I was shoved into a car. The car drove for a long time before stopping at a remote location. Where is this? A cemetery. The assistant's voice was somewhat heavy. Mr. Sterling said that even though the child is lost, he still set up a tombstone for her. You can go pay your respects. A tombstone? My Lily isn't dead yet, so why set up a tombstone? I was helped over to a tombstone. I traced the cold stone with my hands. Words were engraved on it. Tomb of our beloved daughter, Lily Sterling. Lily Sterling. He admitted it? He admitted that Lily is his daughter? But what was the use? Lily was already gone. I hugged the tombstone, crying until the world spun dark. Suddenly, my hand felt a hidden compartment behind the tombstone. That was a secret pact Alexander and I made in the past. If we ever got separated one day, we would leave letters behind each other's tombstones. With trembling hands, I opened the compartment. Inside was a voice recorder. I pressed the play button. Chloe's voice came from within. Has that little bastard been taken care of? Rest assured, Chloe, she's already been thrown into the river to feed the fishes. Well done. Remember to clean up the loose ends. Don't let Alexander find out. Also, give that paternity test doctor a sum of money to keep his mouth shut. If Alexander finds out that child is really his flesh and blood, we're all doomed. The recording came to an abrupt halt. I froze in place. Everything was Chloe's conspiracy. I guessed right. Lily is Alexander's biological daughter. Chloe killed Lily. And she forged the paternity test. And Alexander, that fool, was kept in the dark all along, helping his enemy kill his own flesh and blood. Hatred erupted in my chest like magma. I gripped the voice recorder tightly. This was evidence. It was Chloe's death warrant. And Alexander's retribution, but I couldn't bring it out now. Right now, I am blind, a piece of trash. I can't fight them. I must endure. I will make them pay a price far more agonizing than death. Ms. Vance, let's go. The assistant urged. I hid the voice recorder inside my undergarments. I stood up and wiped away my tears. Take me back. I want to see Alexander. Returning to the Sterling villa. Alexander was drinking in the living room. The air was thick with the strong stench of alcohol. Why are you back again? He asked impatiently. I fumbled my way over to him and dropped to my knees with a thud. Alexander, I was wrong. I shouldn't have hated you, shouldn't have pestered you. Lily being lost is just her fate. Now, I only want to beg you for one thing. Give me some money. Let me leave this place. Go somewhere no one knows me and live out the rest of my broken life. Alexander seemed surprised by my submission. How much do you want? 5 million. Heh, you really have the nerve to ask for that. This is a buyout fee. I raised my gauze-wrapped face, my voice terrifyingly calm. It pays for my eyes, for Lily's life, and it buys out all our years of affection. From now on, we are even. Alexander was silent for a long time. All right. He tossed a card to me. The pin is your birthday. Take the money and get lost. I fumbled around and picked up the card. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. I turned and walked out. Every step I took was unwavering. Alexander, Chloe, just you wait. The gates of hell have already opened for you. After getting the money, I didn't leave the city. I found a hidden rental apartment and settled in. I spent a fortune hiring a private investigator to dig into all of Chloe's dirty deeds over the past few years. With that voice recorder as a lead, Many things weren't hard to uncover. Chloe not only forged the paternity test, but was also involved in money laundering, commercial bribery, and even a few murder cases. I compiled all this evidence and made countless backups. 1 month later, the Sterling Group held its anniversary celebration, which doubled as the engagement party for Alexander and Chloe. All the city's elites attended. I went too. I spent a hefty sum on a red evening gown and wore the most exquisite makeup. Even though I was blind, I had practiced for a whole month how to walk, how to smile, how to make myself look like a normal person. Wearing sunglasses, I linked arms with an uninvited male companion, the private investigator. We slipped into the banquet hall. The hall was filled with glamorous guests and the clinking of glasses. On stage, Alexander was holding Chloe's arm, accepting everyone's blessings. Chloe wore a pure white wedding dress, and those eyes that originally belonged to me were looking at Alexander with a radiant smile. "Thank you all for coming to my engagement party with Alexander." Chloe's voice echoed through the venue via the microphone. I let go of my companion's hand and walked toward the stage, step by step. My high heels clicked against the floor, making a crisp sound. "Wait a minute." I spoke up. My voice wasn't loud, but it was enough to silence the entire hall. Everyone's gaze locked onto me. "Is that Eleanor? Why is she here? Dressed like that? Didn't they say she went blind?" Whispers erupted all around. Alexander's face instantly darkened. "Eleanor, what are you doing here?" "Security." "Don't be in such a rush, Mr. Sterling." I took off my sunglasses, revealing those hollow, lifeless eyes. Though I couldn't see, I turned accurately toward Chloe's direction. An old friend is getting engaged. How could I not bring a grand gift? I pulled a flash drive from my clutch. This right here contains a record of Miss Smith's glorious achievements over the years. Chloe's face drastically changed. "Eleanor, what nonsense are you spouting?" "Security. Hurry up and throw this crazy woman out." Several security guards rushed forward. I held up the miniature remote control in my hand. "Nobody move. This flash drive is connected to the big screen. The moment I press this, its contents will play immediately. Furthermore, I've set it on a timer. If you don't let me finish, these wonderful contents will be broadcast all over the internet in 10 minutes. The security guards froze, not daring to move. Alexander stared at me intently. "Eleanor, what exactly do you want?" "What do I want?" I laughed, laughing so hard that tears streamed down my face. "I want everyone to see what kind of trash this soon-to-be Mrs. Sterling really is." I pressed the remote. On the big screen, the slideshow of their sweet photos instantly switched. It was a video of Chloe making a deal with that doctor. It was the audio recording of her ordering someone to throw Lily into the river. It was the detailed ledger of her embezzling public funds and laundering dirty money. The entire hall went into an uproar. Chloe went mad. "Turn it off. Turn it off right now. That's fake. It's doctored." She rushed over, trying to snatch the remote from me. I dodged sideways and stuck out a foot to trip her. She crashed to the floor in a pathetic heap, tearing her wedding dress. "Alexander, do you see it clearly now?" I pointed at the large screen. "This is the woman you held in the palm of your hand. She murdered your daughter and played you for an absolute fool." Alexander stared at the screen, his entire body trembling. His eyes were bloodshot, looking as if they might drip blood. "Is this all true?" He turned to look at Chloe, his voice trembling beyond recognition. "Alexander, listen to me. She's framing me." Chloe crawled over and clung to his legs. "Get lost." Alexander kicked her away. He put his full strength into the kick. Chloe let out a miserable shriek and coughed up blood. "Arrest her. Call the police. Call the damn police." Alexander roared. The police arrived shortly after. Because I had already called them. As Chloe was taken away, she was still cursing at me frantically. "Eleanor, you bitch. I won't let you off even as a ghost." I merely smiled faintly. "Then go be a ghost." The hall was in utter chaos. Alexander slumped onto the floor, as if all the strength had been drained from him. He looked at me, his eyes brimming with remorse and agony. "Eleanor, I'm sorry. Is Lily really my daughter?" "Yes." I nodded. "What a pity that she was killed by your own hands." Right when you forced me to jump off a building for Chloe. Right when you gave my eyes to Chloe. Alexander, you are the murderer. You are the accomplice who killed Lily. Alexander covered his face, letting out a beast-like wail. He knelt on the floor, slapping himself hard across the face. Once, twice. His face swelled and blood trickled from the corner of his mouth, but I felt not a single trace of satisfaction. Only an endless void. I had my revenge. But my Lily could never come back. And my eyes could never come back either. I turned around and slowly walked toward the exit. Eleanor, don't go. Alexander crawled over and grabbed the hem of my dress. Please don't go. Give me a chance to atone. I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Make it up to me? I looked down at him. How are you going to make it up to me? Can you bring Lily back to life? Can you give me my eyes back? Alexander, belated affection is cheaper than dirt. I kicked his hand away and walked into the night. Chloe was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. Alexander went mad. He handed the Sterling Group over to professional managers, drank heavily all day, and stayed by Lily's tombstone to repent. He searched the whole world for me, but I had vanished as if I had evaporated from the face of the earth. In truth, I was in a small town not far from him. I rented a house with a yard and planted many flowers. Even though I couldn't see them, I could smell their fragrance. Half a year later, I felt my body deteriorating day by day. Terminal stomach cancer. That was the death sentence the doctor handed me. The torment of those past few years had long since drained my life away. I refused treatment. Because I wanted to go see Lily. Before I died, I sent a package to Alexander. Inside was a letter and a USB drive, the Sterling Villa. Alexander was unshaven, haggard, and emaciated. With trembling hands, he opened the package. The letter was written in Braille, but he found someone to translate it. Alexander, by the time you read this letter, I will already be dead. Don't be sad, and don't look for me. This is a release for me. I lied to you. The truth is, Lily didn't die. That day by the river, I had already arranged for someone to be there. The child that was thrown into the river was just a bundle filled with stones. The real Lily was sent abroad by me. She is doing very well now, but I won't tell you where she is. Because you don't deserve to be her father. In this lifetime, don't ever think about seeing her again. This is my greatest revenge against you. Just cling to your remorse and grow old in solitude. Eleanor's last words. After reading the letter, Alexander laughed and cried at the same time. Not dead, Lily isn't dead. That's wonderful, that's wonderful. Like a madman, he jammed the USB drive into his computer. Inside was a video clip. In the video, a lovely little girl was sitting on the grass, playing. She wore a pink dress and smiled like an angel. Although her face couldn't be seen, her back looked exactly like Eleanor when she was a child. Lily. Alexander reached out to touch the screen, his face covered in tears. Daddy is so sorry. As long as you're alive, as long as you're alive. He believed it. He truly believed it. From then on, Alexander became a philanthropist. He funded the construction of countless orphanages and established a foundation specifically to help children with leukemia. Every month, he would wire a massive sum of money to an overseas account. That was what he thought was Lily's child support. He was alive, yet he lived like a walking corpse. His only pillar of support was that daughter, far away on the other side of the world. However, I would forever be the only one who knew the truth. That video was doctored by someone I hired. That account was a donation channel for the Red Cross. Lily was truly dead. That day by the river, Chloe's people really did throw her in. Not even her bones remained. The reason I lied to Alexander was because letting him live with hope was the cruelest punishment of all. He would spend the rest of his life searching for someone who didn't exist. He would fall deeper into despair with every disappointment. He would forever live in guilt and illusory expectations. This was the true relentless hell. I lay in the rocking chair, feeling my life ebbing away. A gentle breeze blew past, carrying the sweet fragrance of flowers. Lily, Mommy is coming for you. I closed my eyes, a smile of relief curving my lips. In the darkness, I seemed to see a little girl running toward me. Mommy, hug me. The end thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, so you may get latest updates.